So it's inescapable. Lodi has been set on the path to become an emissary. But I don't know for which one. I'm responsible for putting that in motion. I can taste the tense link between me and him. Acid and capsaicin. Sting and tingling numb. An offering of recreational poison we withstand. That is their ploy. Arm us with knowledge, balanced with the subtle danger of being overridden. It is a straight line, and our changes don't loop into themselves like theirs. I escaped it only to doom him. The Nine are terrible communicators. They don't understand us any more than animals understand the mirage of a photograph's captured depth. They need an emissary. But I found what was at the end of that path, writhing to form language, with no will beyond theirs. Now I know. He will become it. Unless we divert him.
Guardian, I think I've made a mistake. Lodi and I were talking. Now that conversation reeks of sulfur.
That sounds unpleasant.
I should have noticed it sooner, before the conversation spoiled into argument. But I didn't. I pushed him, and he stormed off into the hills. I tracked him to here and set a beacon to signal him, but he hasn't responded. Find him.
Send us his last known heading. We'll find him. Orin, what exactly were you two arguing about?
The past, what might be, and the cliff of what he is becoming. He prefers to look behind instead of what is in front of him. He values service over freedom. I've already made that mistake for him.
He's going through a lot. Maybe we can approach him with a little more tact. Orin, we're here, but I don't see Lodi.
But his scent, lost in time, hanging on brass and polished sand.
Okay. Guardian, I think she means that monument. And next to it, brass and sand must be the time-lost telescope. If Lodi was here, maybe we can get a lead from those.
Orin sent you after me. It's nice to see people get worried when you disappear. I'm not actually going anywhere. I needed to look up at the stars and clear my head, but then the Vex turned up.
Anything we can help with?
Talk this out with me. Orin keeps telling me that I can't go back home. That if I join 3, I'll lose myself. I don't know if I believe that. That who we are before doesn't matter. If it did, 3 could have picked anyone. But it was me.
I understand. Sometimes I feel that way about the Traveler. It has a purpose beyond me. But it chose me. And I chose the Guardian. The choice matters. That it was you matters. Even Orin held on to pieces of herself as an emissary.
That's what the Drifter says. We all got North Stars. Speaking of, you can find the North Star from where you're standing. See it? That's the one. Polaris. You know, my father taught me to fly an old Duster as a boy. I was an aerial surveyor during, well, we often flew at night. Stars were important. My old man, he used to tell me, nations are built by service. Drilled that phrase. Now, I didn't want to kill anyone, but I could help get a clear view of a target, make sure it was the enemy, and help minimize collateral. Then my eyesight didn't hold, I washed out. I thought I had my whole career planned out, and then gone in a haze. I flew longer than I should have, finding my way there and home again by the stars as much as my instruments. I remember being worried the stars never look the same from the ground, but you orient yourself right, and there they are. Our crew used to joke that we were sighting targets for Orion's next hunt, guiding his arrows to the hearts of evil men. We thought we could make killing fair. I'm not that naive anymore. But as an emissary, I could still put a finger on the scale. A check.
Guardian, you've got an incoming call.
The position of emissary is not a comfortable one. Hanging between, a mess of secondary colors caught in a minor key. The Nine need emissaries to understand humanity. Their subjective reality is fundamentally different from yours. Lodi is trapped in the present participle, becoming, transforming, beginning to hear the stretch of magnetic fields, learning to bear the touch of the Nine like acclimating to lightning strikes. The Nine don't understand plain, mauve disgust, how we react to the changes they put an emissary's body through. My choices and the pain they brought me are my own. I'm not Lodi. His pain, his choices, his changes, gerund again. He is wrestling with them. Have patience with him. Now, and in future.
One of those time field fluctuations. Were those Vex cleaning the time field up? I wonder what they were trying to hide. Let's get a scan and see what Ophiuchus and Ikora think.
Ghost, Guardian. We took a look at what you sent over, and I think it's incomplete. But it's the next thread I needed. Looks like a Vex cover-up. They were scrubbing information before you arrived, but there's more to be found. Ophiuchus is mapping a scatter plot of signatures that resemble Ghost's scan. You take half, I'll take the other half. We'll see if they turn up a clearer picture.
Ikora, the Vex don't normally worry about their plans being discovered. Why cover something up now?
The attempt to conceal Maya's plans is precisely what worries me.
Time doesn't feel stable here to begin with. It must be easier for the Vex to manipulate it.
In small ways, yes. Though I believe they're more limited here overall. This place is governed by rules even the Vex can't bend. Quarantining the Nine and the Singularity with it. Throwing themselves into dark matter. I think they're trying to build a resistance. Or fabricate one. Maybe they're close to an answer.
That's 2 down. Only 2 more signals to go.
we're not alone. Conductor, thank you for joining us.
This is not a damning accusation, Ikora. I am not separating weeds from chaff. I am restoring an arid field to its pinnacle. All we have lost, you and I regained. Think on that. Or stand in the way of the proverbial plow if you must.
Your fingerprints are hard to ignore. Anyone in the way of restoring your new golden age ends up trampled, don't they?
There's something beyond the Conductor's Vex manipulating the time-space around us. If the Vex didn't cause this, they were drawn to it. We've seen how they react to dark matter. Everything points to the Nine, but this place doesn't resemble the unknown space they've utilized in the past. From what I'm seeing, this mystery looks less like a cipher we're meant to decode and more like a panicked scrawl we're struggling to read. This is a crime scene. We're captured in the gravity of this too. But we still chose to come. Timelessness or not, we're here now. And we've changed set futures before.
Ikora's got a lot to look over here, and we've got one more time field to scan. Let's move, Guardian. Guardian, you've got an incoming call.
Guardian, Ophiuchus has produced an interesting development from the data you sent us. There are particles here, caught in each disturbance, that are suspended as a sort of static image. The Vex don't normally work like this. They rewrite something immaculately, as if it had always been that way. But this is sloppy. Too sloppy for Maya Sundaresh and her collective. Whoever did this wasn't worried about covering their tracks. They intended to be followed, and the Vex are sweeping up behind them. I wonder... We've always suspected the Nine existed in a parallel dimension of sorts. We know they're involved in bringing us here. What if we're on the right track, but facing the wrong direction? It makes sense that the Vex would be hunting after a fourth-dimensional being that can slip across time like they can. Maybe the Nine can accomplish something the Vex can't. For now, that's our best theory.
Ikora, Guardian. Drifter and I had something to show you, to better varnish your understanding. Kepler is part of the Oort Cloud, a sea cliff of Sol jutting over the abyss of space. If you want to understand what summoned you, you need to understand dark matter. Find a pool of radiolaria. Drifter will explain first.
I familiarized myself with the most recent studies from the tower. Dark matter is well documented.
Sure. In papers.
Peer-reviewed data is our strongest place of knowledge. Though I imagine, Orin, you have a different angle on the subject.
I've had my eyes on some of these Vex going haywire, and seems like the dark matter of this place is souring the milk, so to say. Once the stuff gets near Vex milk, the Vex become disconnected from the collective, and then go nuts before they slowly die off.
The Vex becoming disconnected due to dark matter influence implies some part of their biology is aware of its presence.
It is, even when limited to 3 dimensions.
Forgive me for only considering 3.
We are dealing with 2 separate problems connected by the 9. Dark matter, which is what they are, and time, which is what they shift. Dark matter can usually only be experienced, not observed. Think of wind, or scent. Invisible, but detectable. Shifts in time, though, are harder to sense. We are drawings on a piece of paper, and without us knowing, that paper is being folded into a crane. We can seek their hands all we want, but we can't fold the paper. It is easy to feel adrift, powerless.
Adrift is a good way to put it. If we can see the unseeable here, maybe we'll see what shaped our path, too. We're facing this together, Orin. Guardian, there's a growth in the Ionian settlement that the plant life is responding to. This interaction is arresting.
Catlia Rex. Beautiful.
We'll have to send additional researchers for further study of the interaction between transdimensional matter and material flora.
Once I can wrangle my proprioception out of the 6th dimension and stop my skin from shifting squares on the periodic table, maybe I'll write you a paper on it.
dark matter doesn't explain the time-lost artifacts we've seen.
It does, in a way. The Nine exist outside of time. When one intervenes in our dimension, it can cause tears in space-time, pull things through. A hole punch in our paper crane.
You have a talent for explaining complex concepts. Have you thought about how you could share what you've learned?
No. I have not been able to cloud through what is next for me.
Knowledge decays if it is not shared, as the Ionians say. What do you miss most, Orin, now that you're not the emissary?
My media file collection. I put so much thought into curating it before all of this. I loved to magpie. Maybe I still do.
Lodi mentioned a collection of pressed music recordings he left behind. I bet he'd enjoy someone guiding him through a few hundred years of what he missed. The time-lost objects we've seen. All of them are obviously from the past. We haven't seen anything yet that appears to be from the future. Orin, can the Nine only pull objects forward in time?
Only forward, never backward. When I was emissary, I knew this truth as I knew my own pulse. The rule of chronal flow is the Nine's oldest, and their cruelest. The Nine on the other side of the altar is connected to the Singularity, but they aren't one and the same. I don't see why they would seek to create a black hole, but their goals are different from ours. We have no sway over them.
Can you blame me for wanting to try?
Of course not. We've both been fortunate to learn about the world from the safety of the tower, and to learn about it from underneath our skin.
Then share that knowledge. There's a place and a future for you, Orin. Teach humanity what we cannot learn from study.
A future? I would like that. My will is my own. It's as frightening as it is freeing. Don't misunderstand me. I didn't choose to be a Lightbearer. I did choose to be an emissary. And I chose to leave. I don't miss either life. I choose to bear truth. To share fragments I've stowed away from beyond the borders of known space. The knowledge I keep will save others. But first, there is a piece of myself that I left buried to grow in old soil. My ghost, Gaul. We planted violet petals from the Golden Age. My hands, their shell. After we leave here, that's where I'll go. One brief respite until fate calls us back to right the impossible.
Everyone, we have the last Strangelet capsule. Guardian, we need to take this to the Altar of Relativity and get that door open.
This is it. I'm finally gonna learn why I'm here. Big moment. For all of you too, I'm sure.
Yeah. Round of congrats to everyone. But we're not out of the doghouse yet.
Drifter's right. I'm sure the Archon will be on the move soon now that the quarantine is down. And when he does...
Quiet. Yes, you have reached your goal and torn down my collective's quarantine. This is marginally impressive, but not beyond expectations. You are free to enter and play out your adventure. As I have said, I concluded my business there long ago. All that is left is to see if the Guardians really do make their own fate. Or if you will let the Nine puppeteer your power to their whims. Remember that it is they who manipulated you. They who spent your lives so recklessly to save themselves. They who see you as something less. All I am doing is all I have ever done. Improving a broken system. You may remain shielded. Or be drawn into a losing battle. Goodbye, Guardian.
Guardian, drop everything you're doing. The reactor for the Academy is experiencing criticality. If we don't hold Meltdown, it'll bury not just the Ionians, but trigger the Singularity's expansion. It's all at risk. Guardian, lead us in.
We are the Alpha suit.